Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the crossover culture Mayhem. So this shoe is going for 125 bucks, so I guess it's like around mid-tier pricing, and if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. Crossover Culture is a pretty small company. They were also established pretty recently, and they want to get into the basketball market, with basketball apparel and also shoes, obviously. So let's see if they made a good performer, and let's get it started off with the traction as always. So from the traction pattern, we can see a very wavy herringbone traction pattern. So here in the forefoot we have a solid rubber outsole, and here in the heel we have a translucent outsole, and the bite is really nice, guys. If you're playing on a clean court, you're gonna have a very consistent, very hard bite. It has a really nice squeak as well, but on dust it was a little bit of an issue, right? It didn't pick up dust very fast, but I would say it picked it up pretty quickly, so I definitely did have to wipe when I was playing the shoe. Also, if you let a little too much dust build up, it does slide out a little bit and it can get a little dangerous, so just watch out for that. Just remember to wipe and you'll be fine. If you don't, then just try to be a little bit more careful. And as far as the durability goes, I feel like durability will be pretty damn nice, right? So the grooves are pretty thick and the rubber feels pretty hard. I did not play outdoors in this shoe, so just take that with a grain of salt. But just from me, like feeling the outsole, it feels like it's gonna be pretty good. So overall, it's a really nice traction pattern. Just watch out for dust. All right, moving on to the heel to toe transition. It's pretty damn smooth, right? So here in the heel, we have a pretty curved shape as well as a fully exposed midsole, which allows the midsole to compress and also doesn't feel like clunky or anything here in the heel. Here in the forefoot, we have a nice curved shape as well as a lot of forefoot flex. So that's nice. Also, another thing that they added here in the shoe is a midfoot shank plate. I believe they're calling this like the wishbone, plate or something like that. Here in the heel, through this translucent outsole, we can see the midfoot shank plate, which is pretty cool. All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. So this is a brand new foam from Crossover Culture. It's called Twitch foam, and they advertise it as it being soft and also very bouncy, right? But in my experience, when I was playing in the shoe, I would just say it's just more on the softer side of things. It's not super bouncy. You don't really get a crazy bounce back, right? So here in the heel, you have a good amount of compression, which feels very nice. You have pretty good core feel too. As far as stepping comfort goes, or like feeling the cushion right underneath your foot, you don't really feel all too much. And then here in the forefoot, I would say it's more on the responsive side of things. It's more like a stiff feeling. So as far as the impact protection goes, it's good, especially if you do heel strikes. Just don't expect too much bounce from this foam, but overall I enjoyed it. If you're looking for a responsive cushioning setup that's low to the ground with adequate impact protection and heel compression, this is a good cushioning setup. All right, moving on to the material. So we have an open mesh material that's made of TPU fibers, which is really cool. And if you guys can see, you can kind of see through it. It looks kind of like a screen mesh, and it's extremely thin, especially here in the toe box. They also use full grain leather, so it's a pretty nice quality and old school touch to the shoe. It goes around the perimeter of the shoe, and also we have some touches of the full grain leather here in the ankle parts of the shoe as well as here in the heel. So that feels nice, and I also like how they put it where it wouldn't add a whole lot of bulk to the material, right? So here in the toe box, it feels extremely thin, very minimal. Also, we have kind of like a one booty design, right? So this one booty design is it's kind of like an inner booty, and it's made of a pretty thick knit material that's stretchy. So this part stretches over your foot. It feels like a sock. It's really comfortable on foot. And then here in the ankle area, we have a good amount of padding. So the overall materials, I feel like they did a really good job. For me personally, I feel like they could have gone without using the full grain leather, but I feel like people who do enjoy like leather or suede will definitely like this shoe. All right, moving on to the fit of the shoe. I went true to size, and it fits me pretty damn well lengthwise, right? So my toes pretty much go right to the edge of the shoe. So for length, I would suggest going true to size. For me personally, I didn't like the fit all too much here in the toe box. The toe box is pretty damn roomy. For me personally, I like to have a very snug fit here in the toe box. So I didn't really like that all too much, but of course, fit is all preference. And if you want a very roomy toe box, then this is a great option for you. Also, it's kind of weird too, right? So width wise, I would say it's like around normal to slightly narrow, which felt nice, but then just like the extra toe room just didn't feel too good, right? So that kind of sucked for me, and I definitely noticed it while I was playing. But here in the midfoot, it feels really nice, especially because of this knit material. You definitely feel it kind of like stretch over your foot. It feels like a very cozy sock, so I like that. Also, it's a really easy shoe to just slip on. You know, it's kind of like putting on a sock, you know? So that's also really nice, but I just wish the toe box was a little bit more snug. Alright, as far as the support and lockdown goes, I had no issues. You know, for lateral containment, you're pretty much good to go, right? So you have the full grain leather acting as a lateral counter. You have the foam coming up as well on all parts of the lateral side, like here in the forefoot, here in the midfoot, as well as here in the heel. And or actually, no, there is no TPU heel counter, which is interesting. There's really nothing. As you guys can see, it kind of like collapses, but to be honest, you don't really need it. You know, you can see the foam doing its job for lateral containment. So there's that. And also for lateral stability, I was good. There's really no outrigger, but you have a nice low wide base, so it keeps you stable, so you don't really roll your ankle or anything. As far as the ankle support goes though, this is a mid-cut shoe, I would say, maybe even like bordering along like high top, but I didn't really get a whole lot of ankle movement restriction. So I was able to move my ankle around pretty freely. So if you're looking for really good ankle support, this shoe probably isn't the best option. Alright, moving on to the weight. I'm guessing like 13? Okay, so 12.7 ounces. So that's average pretty much. Average weight for this shoe. Does it feel average? Yeah, pretty much. You know, it feels very minimal here in the toe box. It gets pretty cozy here with the padding here in the ankle area. And it's a responsive feeling shoe as well. You know, support's there, cushion feels responsive, traction is really, really good. So when you're playing in it, you definitely feel quick. All right, moving on to the ventilation of the shoe. So if you blow through the material, there is a little bit of airflow, but like I said, here in the midfoot area, you have a pretty thick knit material. I guess it does have ventilation holes, but it is quite thick and it feels cozy. And here in the ankle area, it also feels a little bit thicker. So as far as like the overall like ventilation goes, I would say it's pretty good. Here in the toe box, kind of coming into the midfoot, you have good airflow, but here in the back of the shoe, it's a little bit warm. All right, moving on to the aesthetics. It looks okay. You know, it's definitely not one of my favorite shoes, but aesthetically, it looks okay. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, it's pretty solid, right? There were a few things that I didn't like about it. So when I was playing, I did slip out, and I didn't feel totally responsive when I was playing on like a dusty setting. So that kind of sucked. Also, I didn't really like the extra toe space. You know, that actually bothered me quite a bit. But of course, traction and fit are really, really important aspects or categories for me in a basketball shoe. And this shoe wasn't like the best in those categories for me personally, right? But nonetheless, everything else about the shoe was pretty damn nice, right? It's a solid performer. And of course, fit, you know, here in the toe box is very, very subjective, you know, just in my opinion. You know, it's a little bit roomy, so just watch out for that. So anyways, like I said, this is a solid performer. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box. But that about concludes this review. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.